An Air India flight en route Delhi was forced to circle back to Chicago. This is what the reports are suggesting. After all, but one of the plane's toilets were rendered unusable. According to a report by the popular aviation website View from the Wing, Air India flight 216 took off from Chicago but was forced to turn back after 11 of its 12 toilets became clogged. We have Arunil and Nikhil joining us in the broadcast. Let's first go across to Arunil joining us in the broadcast. Arunil, this is what we're given to understand. 300 passengers had access to just one working toilet, after which the flight was forced to go back.
Well, extreme embarrassment for Air India yet again, and unfortunately this has been happening repeatedly for India's premier airline, now under the Tata group. This is a case wherein a flight which departed from Chicago en route to India, basically because of a choking of as many as 11 toilets. There were 12 toilets on board. 11 toilets got clogged up. Couldn't be used, and it caused major embarrassment to the flight personnel as well. A chaotic scene basically happened mid-air, and the flight basically had taken off. It was en route India. After 10 hours of flight, unfortunately the pilot in command had to decide to take a roundabout and again go to the initial point from where the flight had taken off, which was basically Chicago. Air India has also given out their statement about this. We'll just read out their statement for our viewers as well. Air India operating Chicago to Delhi on 6 March. Air India returned to Chicago due to a technical issue. So they are not accepting about the toilets being clogged up. They are calling it as a technical issue, and also have offered their apologies to the
Right. So while they're offering apologies, they're saying it was a technical issue. Let me also introduce Zina joining us from the newsroom. One would have imagined that after the takeover, the situation will change, but the plight of the Air India flights remain the same.
Absolutely, Swati. And every single day, we are seeing something or the other related to Air India emerging. Now, this is a shocking story. And I would like to also focus on this video where you can see angry passengers inside the aircraft. This video, Swati, is currently going viral on social media platforms. Air India has not said anything on this particular video, whether it is authentic or not. But this video is going viral, and social media users are commenting about what happened in this aircraft that was coming from Chicago to the national capital. Now, there are about 300 odd passengers inside this particular aircraft, and there are 12 lavatories in a plane of this size. Out of those 12 lavatories, only one was functioning. 11 were not functioning because of some clogging that had happened. Now, this is the information that has been put out. Now, just imagine, Swati, there are 300 people. They are supposed to travel from Chicago to Delhi, and only one lavatory is functional. Just imagine the plight of the people. There are all kind of people. There are elderly, there are senior citizens, there are children, there are men, women, young, all kind of people, all age group. There can be somebody who, needs to use the lavatory because of a medical condition, and only one is functional, only one. Now, when the airline was asked about this particular incident, the airline came out with a statement. No mention of what really went wrong. Only, the statement mentions that there was some technical issue, and adequate arrangements have been made for the passengers. The question is, who is going to answer? Because there was a lot of inconvenience that these passengers had to go through. Absolutely. Who is going to compensate them for this, and why is it happening repeatedly? And it's not like a, Delhi or a Mumbai flight. It's not like a Delhi or a Bangalore flight. It's a Chicago to Delhi flight. For such a long route, there are checks and balances that happen all the time.
Absolutely.
Was it not happening? What is the problem really? And, given the kind of, problems that Air India as an airline is facing right now, the company should come out and say, why are all these issues erupting? Are they not able to manage it?
In fact, the upkeep and maintenance is one issue that some ministers also have highlighted. And every single time such an incident is highlighted, Nikhil was also with us on the broadcast, a statement is issued, clarification comes in. In this particular case, Nikhil, the airline is not admitting what the real problem was. They're calling it a technical issue, and you can provide all the compensation you want, the accommodation. But once the image takes a hit in terms of the kind of service that is being provided, then that lasts forever in the memory of the passengers.
And this is not the first of its kind incident. In the past as well, we have seen the situation similarly arising, during the course of the flight, and the similar situation arose on March 5th, wherein AI 126, which was bound to the national capital from Chicago, it had to take a U-turn back to the O'Hare International Airport in Chicago, because as per the details, and this is something which has been confirmed through the sources within the Air India as well, that many of the lavatories, they were clogged. This is the reason as to why the passengers were facing the inconvenience. A call was immediately taken by the pilot in touch with the other authorities that they have to return back to the Chicago airport. Although the detailed statement is already out from the side of the Air India, wherein they have said that this was a technical issue which forced the flight to return back to the Chicago airport. They have also gone on to say that they disembarked all the passengers normally. They have provided them with all the accommodation as well. They also allowed them for the complimentary rescheduling. They have provided them with the refund option as well. Whatever possible as per the set of protocol mentioned by the DGCA, they have done each and everything. But as we've already said, that this is not the first of its kind situation that has arise because of the lavatory issue. Earlier as well, because many of the planes have gotten old, this could be another reason as to why the situation arises. But
such inconvenience and poor maintenance and service has been reported earlier as well by ministers, like I said. But, imagine the horror of the passengers, Hina, and nobody wants to be in such a situation.
Absolutely. And just imagine, Swati, one could be coming to the national capital for a wedding, for something very important, an interview, joining a new job. I mean, there can be so many reasons. And then something like this happens mid-air, the aircraft goes back. Compensation does not, is not really enough, is what most people are now saying. And it's time that Air India does something about the problems that, passengers are facing on a regular basis. I want to also take our viewers through this reaction that has come from Priyanka Chaturvedi, who is a member of Parliament of the Rajya Sabha. She has also put out, this tweet that has come on the story, and she says, and I quote, "Air India, this is a shame. Instead of getting better, it is clearly getting worse." Now, it's a scathing remark that has come from Priyanka Chaturvedi. Earlier, it was Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan who narrated his own ordeal, and that also goes to show, the plight of the passengers. If ministers have to write about their ordeals and everything on social media, imagine the plight of the customers. And here, clearly, it's an important point that Priyanka Chaturvedi has made, because it's been many months now that Air India has gone back to Tata's, and the expectation was that probably the good old days of Tata's, the glorious days of Air India are going to come back, but that hasn't happened. Things seem to be getting from bad to worse. Air India must come out and give some sort of a statement on what is really happening and what's the plan ahead.
All right, Hina, stay on with us. Like we've been speaking, that this is not the first time. On your screens are visuals of what has happened just in the recent past. Let's also remind our viewers that Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan slammed Air India for a broken chair. It started with the Union Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan on the 22nd of February when he took to social media platform X to flag broken seats in his Air India flight. He said the seat was broken and sunken in and it was uncomfortable to sit on. He went on to ask whether it is even ethical to make passengers sit on bad and uncomfortable seats for charging them the full amount, and also asked, is this not amounting to cheating the passengers? And then just a day later, the Punjab BJP president Sunil Jakhar made a similar complaint where he cited broken and uncomfortable seats on an Indigo plane. It did not end there. Days later, an incident surfaced where a woman accused Air India of negligence after her 82-year-old grandmother was left injured at Delhi airport. In a post on X, Parul Kanwar shared the distressing account, claiming that her grandmother, who had a confirmed wheelchair booking for a flight from Delhi to Bengaluru on the 4th of March, was not provided a wheelchair upon arrival. That led to serious injuries to the woman. Let me go back to Nikhil. He continues to be with us on the broadcast. Nikhil, what about the maintenance staff? The big question here is, why did it all of a sudden occur, or this problem happen mid-air? Are there no protocols before the flight leaves? Is there no checking that is done by the team on ground in flight?
Well, usually when this kind of incident usually are reported into the public domain, and during the course of the flight, there is this protocol wherein the airline carrier, they have to also inform the authorities, which is the DGC in this particular case. So this is now part of the investigation whether or not the servicing or the maintenance was properly done before the departure of the flight at the Chicago airport, because it is not just about the inconvenience to the passengers but also about the image which the Air India usually possess across the globe. Earlier as well, these similar situations have already arisen in different contexts related to the Air India. So now it is for the management of the Air India to come out into the public domain to clarify to their passengers as to what exactly is leading towards the situation where the passengers are facing the inconvenience, and also the brand as an Air India as well, the Tatas as well, they are taking the hit in this particular regard. But we need to see as to what exactly the DGCA is going to take action in this entire situation, although we are assuming that a report must have been given from the side of the Air India. But the Air India on the other side, they have given out a detailed statement in the same. They have said that they have followed all the protocol, all the guidelines as well, which are as per the DGCA. They have provided the refund. They have also approved for the complimentary rescheduling as well. But it is the passengers yet again who usually face the inconvenience. Hina as well, she was telling us that many of the people have also their emergency to attend on. Many of the people who were on board the aircraft, they may have to attend a wedding, they may have to join a new job, or it could be anything. So those are the people who usually
you cannot compensate for the time lost, you cannot compensate for the opportunities lost. Many people, perhaps were coming to Delhi for medical treatment. You cannot compensate for that. Nikhil, also, it's not just about the embarrassment that the flight, that the aircraft, that the service provider is facing, but that also brings a bad name to the country.
Clearly, and this is something which has been reiterated from the side of the Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan as well. He assumed that ever since it is now in the hands of the Tatas, it would have been, it would have been operationalized into a normal situation. But that is something which is clearly not the case. In fact, it has deteriorated in terms of the overall service. The seats are also not up to the mark. The services are also not properly done from the side of the Air India. Now, the situation like this, the brand image as well, which usually takes a toll on the Air India, on the Tatas as well. But we need to see as to what exactly is going to come out from the Ministry of Civil Aviation, because they also keep a close watch on each and every incident which is in context to the inconvenience given out to the passengers. So we need to
All right, Nikhil, stay on with us. We have aviation expert Vipul Saxena joining us on the broadcast. It must have been a nightmare for the passengers. Vipul Saxena.
Obviously, such a long flight and 10 for toilets not working, only one toilet for so many passengers. I really can't term it, it's more than miserable. And I think it casts a big doubt on the competency and seriousness on the top management of Air India. The kind of services they are providing to the passengers, charging such a hefty fare. And when it comes to services to the passengers, those are pathetic. There's no attitude of caring for the passengers. You look at the way people are being treated for the wheelchair, people are treated for food, for everything.
All right. Vipul Saxena, thank you very much for speaking with us. We in fact have Priyanka Chaturvedi joining us on the broadcast. Thank you very much, Ms. Chaturvedi. We just in fact saw your post on social media X, and clearly the situation seems to only been getting worsened.
Absolutely. With the kind of aircraft that they're using for domestic circuit, for the international travel that we are seeing repeatedly complaints coming about Air India and its services is extremely unfortunate. On one hand, we thought when it gets privatized, we'd see better services and Air India, reclaiming its space in the airline industry. However, it's only going down the drain, literally going down the drain, with the kind of news that is coming where they had to return the Mumbai-Chicago flight back to Mumbai because of choked toilets.
Absolutely. But, we need intervention now on part of the ministry, don't you think? Because this is not the first time. Several ministers also have highlighted the plight of poor service and maintenance when it comes to the aircraft itself.
Absolutely. And even not providing wheelchairs and an 82-year-old woman falling and going into a coma, I think these are extremely shameful reports that are coming in, and it is for the DGCA and it is for the Civil Aviation Ministry to take it up with the airline and find out a solution for this, because this by using the tag India along with that airline, which has now been privatized, you're shaming an entire nation.
One hoped actually after the takeover perhaps the plight would change, but like you said, it's only getting worse. Now, do you believe it's not just bringing bad name for Air India, because these memories, it stays forever with the passengers who've been in that kind of a situation, but also a bad name for the country?
Absolutely, that is what I mentioned, that we hoped that after privatization, giving it to a company like Tata's, they would take care of it, they would nurture it, they would bring the glory back into Air India. Unfortunately, that is not happening, and accountability needs to be set, because it's India's name, it's the prestige of India which is at stake.
All right, Ms. Chaturvedi, thank you very much for speaking with us. That was Sena UBT MP Priyanka Chaturvedi, who says situation is only getting worse. One hoped, one imagined that it would improve since the takeover by Tatas, but things clearly don't seem to be improving. We have Yogita Bhayana, activist, joining us as well. The passengers definitely must have felt cheated, betrayed. And like I said earlier, Yogita Bhayana, you cannot compensate for loss of time and perhaps opportunities for some of them.
So there are 2-3 aspects to this particular thing. However, we can give them benefit of doubt on being on merger state. But at the same time, it is not only about the inconvenience, how passengers were suffering, including the female passengers, mostly because how it is about female passengers not using the washroom. Maybe most of them, few of them might have their menstruation cycle. We need to get into that sensitivity level also. Not having the operational washroom will definitely trigger the health issues. At the same time, it is a safety hazard. I am also from aviation, and having worked for many years in aviation industry, I can also say that this is not only an inconvenient part, this is also a very big safety hazard. Not having not even one washroom operational can jeopardize the safety of the aircraft and the operations.
In fact, out of 12, 11 were clogged, is what we're given to understand. There was just one operational for 300 passengers. But I get your point. You're saying it was a massive health hazard as well. Thank you very much, Yogita Bhayana, for speaking with us. Let me go back to Nikhil. Multiple voices coming to fore, criticizing the airline, the service that was provided. Also, one thing that everybody is reiterating is that one hoped that the situation would change, because there was privatization, that the Tatas took over. So perhaps some service, some maintenance would have seen improvement. But that does not seem to be the case. Many, in fact, would say and vouch that it has only been deteriorating.
Well, clearly, and the Air India as an airline carrier, they have a lot of ground to cover if you go by the detail and if you go by the facts as well. Indigo is the particular airline which currently holds 65% of the market share. So you can imagine the kind of ground which has to be covered from the side of the Air India. They are hovering between the level of 30 to 35% of the market share, which clearly speaks for itself as to how much the Air India as an airline carrier, they are lagging behind, how much they have to improve, not just on the services, on the quality, but also on the fleet size as well. And the situation like this, when they come out in the public domain, it clearly takes a major hit about the image as well, and for the Tatas as well, who were given the responsibility to yet again take the operation in their own hands. Although last time around, when Shivraj Singh Chauhan, he made the statement very much public about the ordeal which he had gone through during the course of the Bhopal-Delhi flight, that time the Ministry of the Civil Aviation, they came into this swift action. Minister Ram Mohan Naidu of the Civil Aviation, he also reached out in person to Shivraj Singh Chauhan, saying that they have already taken this particular matter to the highest authority of the Air India.
All right.
But in this particular regard, the situation which arose on March 6, we need to see if there is any action which has been suggested.
We need to track
from
what
the
the
side
DGCA
of
has to say or what the Ministry of Civil Aviation has to say. Nikhil, thank you very much for getting us the details. With that, we're slipping into a short break. A lot more lined up on the other side. Stay on with us.